In my last little recording on these argument papers, I want to talk about a issue I'm seeing with paragraph unity. And this is a common issue that I see in rough drafts where paragraphs jump from topic to topic to topic. And I've seen this a little bit in the introductions already where more than one introductory strategy is used. In this paper, what I'm seeing is that almost every sentence is expressing an idea that could be in its own paragraph. So the paragraph goes, and just to give you an idea of what this is about, it's arguing that same-sex marriage should be allowed. And the first main point that's given says, many people would argue that marriage is between a man and a woman. However, why can't it just be about two people who love each other? Okay, so there's the question, and the main point is, should it really be about marriage between a definition as marriage between a man and a woman, or about just people who love each other? So challenging the definition there. I wouldn't phrase this as a question. I think it'd be better to say that the people who are arguing that marriage should be between a man and a woman are wrong, and that it should really be about two people who love each other. And that would be a statement rather than a question. It's more direct, more to the point. And then it goes on in the paragraph. Growing up, I was never taught that loving someone of the same sex was wrong. And that is personal experience that could be used to support your point, though in this case, it doesn't seem to really actually say anything about your topic, because the audience would say, well, growing up, I was never taught that loving someone of the same sex was right. So their audience is just going to counter it and say, well, your experience is different than mine. Mine is my experience and yours is yours. That's just your opinion. This is what the law says, and so therefore I'm right. So I think that personal experience could be brought in, but you have to be aware that the audience is going to have probably a very different personal experience, and unless you can develop some common ground, that might not convince them. Okay, but back to paragraph unity. It's about whether or not how we should define marriage, really, as between two people who love each other or between a man and a woman. And this sentence says, I was taught to see love for what it really is. I was taught to see love for what it really was, a strong emotion towards someone else regardless of gender. Okay, and that's still on the same topic. But then this sentence here, people claim that same-sex marriage will forever lessen the value of what marriage is supposed to be. That is, I think, a completely unrelated statement to the question of how we're going to define marriage. So all of a sudden the paragraph shifts from being about whether marriage should be about love or about a definition as between man and a woman, all the way down to lessening the value of marriage. And then it gets into talking about divorce rates. And because I'm not sure whether the topic of this paragraph is on the value of marriage or the definition of marriage, I don't really see how the divorce rates are relevant to the discussion. So the paragraph just sort of loses focus and starts being about multiple things. What could happen here is take this first bit and turn this into paragraph 1, take the second part, turn this into a topic sentence. People claim that same-sex marriage will lessen the value of marriage. And then that could be another paragraph all on its own. And you can split up the evidence so that it goes with the paragraph it belongs with. Okay, so good ideas, it just needs to be divided out into multiple paragraphs. So here's another one from a different essay. Because tuition, in this essay is arguing that, or asking the question whether or not college is worth it. And one of the reasons college might not be worth it is because tuition has risen at a faster rate than income, creating difficulty for the average American to pay for college without looking at student loans. In essence, debt should be avoided whenever possible. So here's where the topic shifts, talking about the rise of tuition and the need for student loans, and then the subject of debt should be avoided. So there's two assumptions here. That one, we want to avoid this difficulty. two is that debt is actually happening as a result of this difficulty. So what you might need to happen here is prove that this debt should be avoided whenever possible first. This sentence here could be expanded into a paragraph that could go first. And then you could say, because we want to avoid this debt, therefore we should avoid going to college because college creates debt, or some arrangement. But I think this debt should be avoided whenever possible is maybe an assumption that your audience might not agree with. A lot of people would say that debt is actually a good thing and helps you start up your financial career and helps you build credit. So there's a lot of counter arguments here. I wanted to look down at one that I thought worked pretty well and was fairly unified. One reason we might consider not going to college is because the job market is unreliable. The next sentence repeats the key phrase from the first sentence. The job market for a particular field may change over the course of time. Of course, the time it takes to obtain the degree to compete in that job market. The job market of coal mining could possibly be one of those unstable markets. So it's repeating the key phrase from the topic sentence. Though this particular market is still strong, there is a growing movement to seek out cleaner, less impacting to the environment energy. If this movement continues to grow over the next few years and puts an end to coal mining, then there goes the entire job market. So here we're still on the same subject from the beginning of the paragraph. And that really helps build unity so that you're making one point and the entire paragraph sticks to that point. Anytime you find yourself with a new key phrase that you're writing about and you're trying to prove two things at once, usually you can split those into separate paragraphs and you can write about them more clearly and in a more focused way in their own separate paragraphs so that within the whole paper, each paragraph serves one purpose and one purpose only and creates one point only. And each individual paragraph is unified with all the others in supporting the thesis.